Hello children. So from our topics, we are moving on forward towards atmospheric pressure today. We have seen different types of pressures like pressures of liquid, pressure on solid and gas pressure. How does it work? Today we are going to discuss atmospheric pressure first of all. So atmosphere, what it is, we all know that it is a mixture of gases only. Air that is surrounding the earth from all the sides is our atmosphere around the earth, isn't it? This layer of air is the one mixture of gases that we called as our atmosphere. Now, the atmosphere exists to about 16 kilometers of height, and it further extends up to about 400 kilometer in a very dilute form. So near the earth's surface it is very dense. The gas particles are very dense, atoms and molecules, but as we raise in height, if you are going to do mountaineering and all, we find that the air pressure or the atmospheric pressure decreases. Okay. Now, the pressure created due to air is called as atmospheric pressure. Okay. This much we have understood. Then in that case, a very long hollow cylinder of unit cross-sectional area is standing on the surface of the earth. It is just like that, and it contains air. Now, weight of this air in the is actually the force applied in the direction of the center of the earth. Now, all these gases are also attached to the earth in a form very dense, closer to the surface of the earth. This means that atmospheric pressure is in the ratio of this weight divided by the area of that surface. Now, air pressure at sea level is called to be 1 atmosphere pressure. At sea level, it is considered to be 1 atmosphere pressure. Air pressure decreases as one goes up in height. So mountains are also measured that way, that they raise in height and with relation to the sea level. So 1 atmosphere is considered to be, this is for the study of scientists, that 1 atmosphere is said to be 101 into 10 raised to 3 PA. What is PA? We all know that PA is the short form of Pascal. Pressure unit is Pascal, because a scientist named Pascal has invented it, and we write it, when we write the unit, as PA. Okay. So 1 atmosphere is 101 into 10 raised to 3 Pascal. Okay. And 1 MBAR is said to be 10 raised to 2 Pascal or hectopascal. Okay. So this Pascal unit that we use to measure pressure, whenever we solve problems related to pressure, we are going to write this unit for pressure. Atmospheric pressure is specified in the unit MBAR. Okay. Or we can also call it hectopascal, HPA. Okay. Now, the atmospheric pressure at a point in the air is equal from all the sides. Now we can also feel the atmospheric pressure from all the sides. Air is creating pressure on our bodies, our head, our body parts. How is this pressure created now? If air exists in a closed container like that of your LPG cylinder, you can imagine the air molecules in random motion continuously will hit the walls of that cylinder, and in this interaction a force is exerted on the walls of the container and pressure is created due to the force only. We all know that force is directly proportional to pressure. More the force, more will be the pressure. So we constantly bear the atmospheric pressure on our head. However, the cavities in our body are also filled with air and arteries are filled with blood. Inside our bodies, the arteries and veins are filled with blood. Therefore, you see, we do not get crushed under water. Even if you go for swimming, you are not going to get crushed, because from inside also a certain amount of pressure is created by the air in the cavities present inside our bodies, as well as blood pressure. Blood pressure we all know now. You must have heard about it. So we do not get crushed underwater, and due to atmospheric pressure also. Otherwise, sitting in air when the wind is blowing, we can get crushed. But from our inside also some pressure is available that balances this outside pressure. So there is a proper amount of balance that is maintained. And the Earth's atmospheric pressure decreases with height from the sea level, obviously, because near the Earth's surface it is denser, and as we rise up in height, what happens? The air or atmospheric pressure decreases. So mountaineers and all, many times we have seen that they face certain problems like bleeding from the nose. Now, why this thing must be happening? Can you imagine? There, the air pressure is less. Air pressure is reducing step by step as we go and climb a mountain. So mountaineering is also not a very simple task as it seemed to be. As you rise up the mountain, what happens? The atmospheric pressure reduces and the pressure inside our bodies is as it is, and you can understand that the balance is getting imbalanced. The inside body pressure and outside atmospheric pressure is not going to get balanced, and in that case what happens? Sometimes our veins and arteries get ruptured because of the internal blood pressure and blood oozes out. So this is a very dangerous situation. Yeah, many times in space also, we all have seen that the space divers, they wear a specially made suit. If they will not wear that, there is no atmospheric pressure in the space. There is no atmosphere in the space. So there is just no pressure. In that case, what can happen? The blood pressure in our bloods and blood veins and arteries, they will break open, because from outside there is just no pressure to balance their internal pressure. So we have to understand this fact of pressure related to our bodies also. So at sea level, the atmospheric pressure is said to be 101 into 10 raised to 3 Pascal is acting on the tabletop of size 1 meter square. In 1 meter square area, you allow students of maths also, so you understand 1 meter square size, how much pressure is there from the atmosphere, that is 101 into 10 raised to 3 Pascal. Okay, and this table is not going to get crumbled down because there is another pressures that are balancing it. Now, another topic today that we are going to consider is our buoyant force. Buoyant force is a type of force that we experience many times, but we were not knowing that this type of force is called as buoyant force. For this, a simple example or a simple experiment we can perform at home itself. That what we have to do is take a plastic bottle everybody is having at home and fix the lid tightly. Put it. Now place it in water in a bucket. What do we see? It's going to float. It is not going to sink. Even when pushed down, there is something from at the bottom of the bucket that is forcing this bottle upwards, pushes this empty bottle upwards. This experiment is the best one to know and is done with a plastic hollow ball. Also you can perform this experiment. Now you see what exactly is happening in this going to happen in this experiment. The empty bottle is going to float on the surface and the bottle full of water. If I take another bottle which is full of water, inside water but does not go to the bottom. Some amount of water is there in the bottle, but this bottle is floating in between the water. The weight of the empty bottle is negligible compared to that of the density of water, as compared with the weight of water inside. Such a bottle with water neither floats on the surface nor goes to the bottom of the bucket in which we have taken the water. This means the force due to gravity acting downward, that is Fg. Force due to gravity, we write it as Fg, force due to gravity. Okay. This force must have been balanced at a certain level. Okay, and because of this balancing, what happens? Force due to gravity getting downward, which is balanced by an opposing force in the upward direction, that we can refer to as Fb. The opposing force we can write as Fb. Okay. On the bottle filled with water is acting. This force must have originated from the water surrounding this bottle, and the upward force acting on the bottle, the object in water or other fluid or gas is called as the buoyant force. Suppose this is your water body, a bucket. In that, if I take an empty bottle, it's going to float. Because it is filled with air, it is going to float about. But if I fill another bottle with certain amount of water in it, what will happen? It is not going to sink to the bottom, or it is not even going to be floating like this water. This water, if I forcefully press, we find that it will be forcefully again sent back to the surface. This bottle also you can see is not getting sink. In that case, we can call this force as buoyant force, and the pressure at which it is getting pulled is your gravitational force. Both the force acting, but the gravitational force is not as much as the buoyant force. Therefore, this water is hanging in between in the water bucket. Now, while pulling the bucket from a well, the bucket full of water immersed fully in water appears to weigh less than when it has been pulled out of water. Why this is happening? That also we need to think in relation to your buoyant force. Now, suppose we take an iron nail. Iron nail, if we put in a bucket, it's going to sink, we know. But we all also know that big, huge size ships, which are made out of iron, they do float over water. They are floating over water. But it's floating when we stir in a spoon also some salt, some sugar, if we want to dissolve in water. So all these points we need to think about. It becomes easier to swim in a sea water compared to that of our swimming pool or fresh water. Why this is so again? You all know that sea water is having salt in it, while fresh water is not having. So the body will be afloat in sea water because the density of sea water will be more as salt is dissolved in it. And salty water, the buoyant force exceed the gravitational force. Buoyant force exceeding the gravitational force. Okay. So we can get very important points related to buoyant force. There are actually two factors on which the buoyant force depends. What are they? Volume of the object, first of all. Volume of object. Now we see that small nails sink in water, but huge ships do not sink in water. Why? You can see the volume. Now they are sharp and all the iron constricted in a small piece. But here the area covered over the water will be more by the ship. In that case, area or volume of the object is also going to decide how much buoyant force is going to act on it. Now on the nail, how much it will be acting? If I put this nail in water, the buoyant force from downside water will push it up, but it will never exceed the gravitational force and it will sink. But in case of a ship, you can see how much area buoyant force is pushing the ship upwards. Okay, so volume of the object, the buoyant force is more if the volume of the dipping object is more. Another thing, another factor is density of liquid. density of liquid, what it is. We have just now seen that it's easy to swim in ocean or sea water compared to our fresh water. Why is it so? More the density of liquid, more is the force of buoyancy. If we add more and more salt, we can see that the object will float. Suppose we take up a lemon and put it in the glass, it will obviously sink. But if we start dissolving salt or sugar in that water, slowly we'll find that the lemon is going to sink above. Okay, so these are certain facts related to buoyant force. Now, the important points related to buoyant force, and these can be used in our scientific world, are: how is it decided that in object left in liquid will not sink in liquid, or will it float in the water, or will it be lying inside the liquid hanging like this in between? How to decide that? Now the object floats in the buoyant if the buoyant force is larger than its weight. Now here is the case of empty bottle. We can see its weight is less than the buoyant force that is generated by the water. Okay. Another thing, the object sinks if the buoyant force is smaller. The object will sink if the buoyant force is smaller than the weight of this bottle or any iron object. Okay. But the third condition arises when the object floats inside the liquid like this bottle. How it is happening? If the buoyant force is equal to the weight, buoyant force and the weight of the bottle are balancing each other. Which forces are unbalanced in the above case? We can see here the buoyant force is more and weight of the bottle is less. So imbalance is there and it will float. In this case, the buoyant force is less and weight of the object is more, so it's going to sink. But where is it balanced? Where the object is floating in between, where the buoyant force as well as the weight force, the gravitational force is balancing each other. Okay, so these are certain facts related to buoyant force. Today we have seen atmospheric pressure and buoyant force and factors affecting buoyant force also. And next class we are going to cover a very important topic, that is Archimedes principle, that is also based upon these factors. Okay, so enough for the day. Thank you all of you. Bye bye.